أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه غر الميامين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله أما بعد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابها I am the city of knowledge and Ali is its gates. Respected brothers and sisters, scholars, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We gather tonight on a blessed event, on a blessed night, the birth anniversary of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam. Of course today, or tonight I should say, is very special because it's dedicated to the special man himself. So I thought with the time that I've been given, I'll briefly talk about his birth, specifically in the Kaaba, so that we may be able to apply some lessons into our life, inshallah. Of course, the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam is without a doubt one of the most miraculous events within Islamic history. Apart from the miracles of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen is quite fundamental. You see, within the Islamic world, when you look around, Imam Ali is a very revered figure. To some people, he's the fourth Khalifa. To others, he's number one, which is Imam. At the end of the day, there is much respect shown to Imam Ali, both from Sunni and Shi'i circles. But when it comes to reverence to Imam Ali, when you look at why they revere, many of the Muslims in the world, they say that we revere Ali for his bravery in battle. Or let's say, for example, his closeness to the Prophet. When you ask about the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam from a normal Muslim, they'll provide you very little detail as to how Imam was born, where he was born, what context he was born. Because to them, for many people, the birth of Imam Ali is not significant. It's not that important. So inshallah tonight we're going to shed some light on the birth of Imam Ali, which is shown to be one of the most miraculous births in human history. And that is being born in the Kaaba. Of course, as we know, Imam Ali alayhi salam was born on the 13th of Rajab, on the 30th year after the year known as Aam al-Fil. Aam al-Fil, of course, refers to the year of the elephant. Prior to the migration of the Holy Prophet, the Arabs did not have a specific calendar. They did not have a way to measure months and years and that kind of thing. So what they did was they would name each year based on the biggest event that happened that year. So for example, the year that Rasulullah was born was when the Abraha attacked his army towards Mecca, yes? Where we read in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Yes, about the army of elephants. Therefore, Rasulullah is known to have been born on the year of the elephant. Imam Ali alayhi salam was born 30 years after this. So if you do the calculations, the gap between Amir al-Mu'mineen and Rasulullah should be how much? 30 years, right? If you're looking from the Hijri calendar, you're looking 23 years before Hijrah, before the migration of the Holy Prophet. So Imam was born on the 13th of Rajab, 23 years before Hijrah. That means Rasulullah was around 30 years old when Amir al-Mu'mineen was born. Now you ask yourself, just like any other chosen creation of Allah, how is it that the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen is miraculous? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to show sometimes His creation that there are certain chosen people for that I have created. I want to show them as a sign, so I'll give you something miraculous about them. That's why when it comes to Imam Ali's birth, it itself is a miracle. When we look at the prophets of God, most of them had miraculous births. Adam alayhi salam had no mother and father. Isa alayhi salam had no father, let's say. He was born from a virgin birth through his mother Mary. Musa and Ibrahim alayhim salam, their mothers did not even show signs of pregnancy. Because if at the time there were signs of pregnancy, Fir'aun and Nimrud at that time, they would have obliterated that entire clan. So Allah uses miracles to show the speciality and the uniqueness of His chosen creation. Likewise, the birth of Imam Ali in the Kaaba is a way of uniquely identifying the miraculous persona of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Now one person might turn around and ask, what's the difference? Imam Ali born outside the Kaaba, inside the Kaaba? At the end of the day, what's the big deal? You're right, it's not that big of a deal. Because at the end of the day, whether Ali is born inside the Kaaba or let's say outside the Kaaba, Ali ibn Abi Talib is still Ali, right? He doesn't change. But the conversation that takes place between his mother inside the Kaaba with her Lord is something fundamental and a lesson for all creation. What happens? Now, to give some brief recap, or just a brief understanding of the story, because we're short on time, so I'll just give you a brief version of it, inshallah. Now, the narration comes from Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib says, I was sitting one day in Mecca with some other Meccans around me, and we knew that my sister-in-law, Fatima bint Asad, because of course the mother Imam Ali was the sister-in-law of Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib. His brother was Abu Talib, right? He said, my sister-in-law, we knew that she was pregnant and she was due sometime soon. We saw her circumambulating around the Kaaba. She was doing tawaf around the Kaaba. Then he said, we began to see her in pain. Obviously she was going through labor pain. What happens next is interesting, because what she does is when she feels this pain or labor pain, she begins to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does she say? She says, Ya Allah, I believe in you and your scriptures and the messages that you have sent, the Rasul or the messengers that you have sent. Oh Allah, I believe in what has been said by my grandfather Ibrahim alayhi salam, who created this holy house of yours, because the Kaaba was created by Prophet Ibrahim and his son Ismail alayhi salam. So she said, Ya Allah, for the sake of my grandfather Ibrahim, your prophet, and for the sake of this child who is in my womb, allow my labor pain to be easy, or allow my labor to be easy. Abbas says, when she made that dua, the corner of the Kaaba begins to open. He says, we were all shocked. The corner of the Kaaba begins to open. Fatima bint Asad enters the Kaaba. As soon as she enters, the Kaaba closes up again. Abbas says she remained 3 days in the Kaaba. 3 days. He says, we were looking around, we were trying to open the door's not opening. They tried to pelt it with the stone is not working. They said Mecca was in an absolute frenzy. For 3 days, nobody could happen to open the Kaaba. Nobody knew what was going inside. Until on the 4th day, Fatima bint Asad comes out with a young boy in her arm. 4th day. She comes out and she says some beautiful lines. She says, Ayyuhan nas, O people, I have been favored in this instance more than Maryam bint Imran and Asya bint Muzahim. Asya and Maryam bint Imran, 2 great ladies mentioned in the Holy Quran, of course. How? She said, I've been favored over these 2 women because when it comes to Asya, she had to go to a secluded place to pray. Whereas for me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened His own house for me as a guest. As for Maryam bint Imran, when she was giving birth to Nabi Isa, Allah said, remove yourself from the Holy Land. Whereas to me, she said, enter the Holy Land. As for Maryam bint Imran, she was ordered to seclude herself. She ended up going, let's say, east. And when she went east, she had to sit down by the palm tree, as mentioned in the Quran. She began to shake the tree and dates fell down. She got the nutrition from the date. She said, that's what Maryam had to do. Allah sent me fruit down from Jannah straight to me inside the Kaaba. She said, that's how I was favored over these 2 women. Then she said, I heard a voice telling me, oh Fatima, listen to this line. Because when it comes to revelation, Maryam, who talked to Maryam to tell her to go and shake the tree? Jibreel alayhi salam, yes? Jibreel came in the form of a man and told her. Maryam, Jibreel talks to Maryam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to Fatima, that's the difference. She says, I heard a voice telling me, oh Fatima, name that child Ali, for I am Aliyul A'la. One of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Ali. So that's why when we finish the Quran, we say, Sadaqallahu al-Aliyul Azim, because it's the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah is telling Fatima, oh Fatima, name that child Ali. For I am Ali al-A'la, rip a part of my name and give it to that child. In other words, Ali ibn Abi Talib is not named by any random human being, random Arab living at that time. The very name and the essence of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen was by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In comparison, when you have another, let's say, companion who is known as the father of the cat, or, let's say a barking female dog. Muawiyah means a barking female dog, by the way. Or another companion, let's say, was known as the father of the cats. There's a difference when you're named by the people of your tribe and when you're named by the Lord of the heavens. Imam Ali was bestowed with this very favor. And then she said, Allah said another line to me, and I will never forget this. He said, oh Fatima, fortunate is the lover of Ali, and wretched is the one who hates him. Do you know how beautiful that line is? When you really reflect on that line, you'll truly understand how blessed you are as a Shi'i. Fortunate is the one who loves Ali, and wretched is the one who hates him. How blessed are we with the love of Abu Turab? You see, our business may collapse, finance may not be the best, we might have problems in life, marital problems. Wallahi, if you lose everything but you have Ali ibn Abi Talib, you're rich. I swear. You have Ali ibn Abi Talib who takes you straight to the city of knowledge, which is Rasulullah, who takes you straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're rich, you're not poor. You lose your business, you get into marriage issues, no problem. You got Ali, my friend. You have nothing to worry. That's why when we say we are proud to be on the path of Ali alayhi salam, we say, Alhamdulillah alladhi ja'alana min al-mutamassikin bi wilayati Amir al-Mu'mineen. We thank Allah. We thank Allah that we have been brought up on the path of Ali alayhi salam. Yes, and it is truly an honor for us. When it comes to Ali, the companions used to say that we used to know the hypocrisy or the belief of a person through their treatment of Ali. A person who hated Ali, we knew he was a munafiq. And a person who loved Ali, we knew he was a mu'min. Rasulullah famously says, Ya Ali, لا يحبك إلا مؤمن ولا يبغضك إلا منافق. Oh Ali, there is none that loves you except a believer, and none that hates you except a hypocrite. So in other words, Ali is Qasim al-Nar wal-Jannah. He is the one who divides heaven and hell. He is the one who is basically dividing truth and falsehood. Now of course, with every merit of Imam Ali alayhi salam, you have your haters. There are haters and people who hated Ali alayhi salam. So history, what they tried to do was they tried to remove the merits. Of course, this merit is no stranger. They tried to remove the merit of Imam Ali being born in the Kaaba. They put a couple of arguments forward. The first argument they put forward is they said, nobody was born in the Kaaba. Nobody. Not Ali, not Fulan, not Fulan. No. The reason why they said this is because when later on, Ali is put in the same sentence as a Fulani, they're on the same level. They're trying to bring Ali down at the same level of whoever is this person who fought him. Yes? They're trying to say Ali was not special, or he's not as good as you think he is. That's one argument. The second group of people will say, look, Ali was born in the Kaaba, but he's not the only one born in the Kaaba. There were others born in the Kaaba as well. Who was born in the Kaaba? They say Hakim bin Huzam was born in the Kaaba as well. Who was Hakim bin Huzam? They say Hakim bin Huzam was the nephew of Lady Khadija, yes? They say Hakim bin Huzam was also born in the Kaaba. So what makes Ali so special being born in the Kaaba? What makes him so special? Hakim was born in the Kaaba. Of course, when it comes to Hakim bin Hizam, when you study his life, you realize that first of all, Al-Hakim, the famous Sunni scholar, says that this narration about Hakim bin Hizam, this is za'if, it's weak. The isnad is not reliable, number one. Number two, Hakim himself, he became a Muslim in the 8th year after Hijrah, all the way towards the end of the message of Rasulullah. And he was one amongst those who was known as al-mu'allafati qulubihim, those whose hearts were inclined to the religion after a while. So Islam had grown far and wide and then Hakim bin Hizam, so-called, became a Muslim. That's the second problem. Third issue, Hakim bin Hizam himself lived 120 years. Never will you see him claim that I was born in the Kaaba. Yani if the man himself is not claiming, who are you to put it forward and say Hakim bin Hizam was born in the Kaaba? Now the explanation behind that basically is it was a propaganda ploy. Everybody wanted to sneak in a merit from their own tribe. The Zubayrids, of course, they wanted to sneak in somebody else because they saw all the meritors going to Ali. They're like, look, we gotta have something in here from our people as well. So let's slot in Hakim bin Hizam. So that's what they did. Because you need to understand how much politics goes behind hadith. When you read a hadith, there is so much politics behind it. The Zubayrid wants to push his hadith. The Umayyad wants to push his hadith. The Abbasid wants to push his hadith. Everyone wants to push their hadith. As for actual references for Imam Ali born in the Kaaba, when you look at Sunni sources of Imam Ali being born, the first one is, for example, Al-Hakim in his Mustadrak, also known as Al-Mustadrak ala Sahihain. The second source for Imam Ali being born in the Kaaba is Mas'udi in his Muruj al-Dhahab. He says Ali ibn Abi Talib was born in the Kaaba. Another one, for example, is Halabi in his Sirah. He says Ali ibn Abi Talib was born in the Kaaba, and many more. And as for Shia scholars, you have, for example, Shaykh al-Mufid in his Kitab al-Arshad. He says Ali ibn Abi Talib was born in the Kaaba. For example, Allama al-Majlisi, he says in his Bihar al-Anwar, Ali ibn Abi Talib was born in the Kaaba. His birth is clear, it's there both in Sunni and Shia sources. And you know what I find ironic? SubhanAllah, this is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how many people try to remove his merits, at the end of the day, they're still praying 5 times a day to the place that he was born. Don't you find that beautiful? They try to remove his merits of being born in the Kaaba, but they still end up praying 5 times a day towards the very place that he's born. If that's not wisdom of Allah, I don't know what is. And the final objection, because we have short time, is of course, a group of people would say, look, if he's born, look, there's very petty arguments, dare I say, that come forward when it comes to removing the merits of Imam Ali. One argument they put forward is they say, look, Ali was born in the Kaaba, okay, but you've got a problem now. They said, what's the problem? Well, you see, in the Kaaba, there's idols. So that means Ali was born where there were idols. So he saw his first eyes when he opened it, it was on idols, yes? But we call it statues, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, when you have a Nasibi, when you have a hate of Ali, they'll go to extreme lengths to try and disprove things, yes? With that argument itself, of course, we can debunk that. Because first of all, who opened that door? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened that crack in that Kaaba. If you say that Ali was born with his eyes open towards the idols, then inherently you are disrespecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? Because Allah did not know better that he would bring Ali into his house and where there would be idols and then he would actually encourage idol worship. Where's the logic? There's no logic behind it. Secondly, Rasulullah used to do tawaf around the Kaaba even when there were idols. Before Islam, Rasulullah used to still do tawaf around the Kaaba. But there were idols in the Kaaba. Does that mean Rasulullah worshipped the idols? Not at all. The Kaaba is the house of God. What happens to be inside is of no relevance. And the last point, of course, is Sunan al-Nasa'i, the famous Sunni scholar, Imam al-Nasa'i. He answers this argument very beautifully. Because he, and I think there was one other one, I can't remember his name. He's the one that proves that Ali ibn Abi Talib is the only one who would never ever bow down nor look towards an idol. Because when you look in his books, when he mentions Ali, after his name, he notes karramallahu wajha. He doesn't say radiyallahu anhum. Because radiyallahu anhum means may Allah be pleased with him. But there's a difference between that and karramallah wajha. The reason why Imam al-Nisa'i says karramallah wajha is because Allah honored the face of Ali because he never ever laid his eyes on an idol. So you can't say Ali born in the Kaaba, laid on an idol. No. Doesn't make sense. That's why in the famous Shi'i or the Irani poet, I should say, it says it beautifully. He says, Muyassar nagardat bakas in sa'adat baka'aba wiladat ba masjid shahadat. Yes? So nobody will get a virtue like this, where there is birth in the Kaaba and martyrdom in the mosque. Nobody in human history has a virtue like this, except Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Ali is like the Kaaba, subhanAllah, I find this really interesting. Ali was born in the Kaaba, he's almost like the Kaaba as well. Rasulullah says Ali is like the Kaaba, you go to him, he doesn't come to you. A man came to Amir al-Mu'mineen, he said, when Imam became Khalifa, said, "Oh Ali, you've now become Khalifa, why don't you get the support of the people around you?" Imam said, "Oh man, have you read the ayah in the Quran? وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ عَلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا." The man said, "Yes, I have." And to Allah is due from the people to visit his house. Yani it's an obligation to go to Hajj if you have the financial ability to do so. The man said, "Yes, I've heard of that." And Imam said, "What happens if a person doesn't go to Hajj?" The man thought for a bit, he said, "Nothing." Imam said, "If the man doesn't go to Hajj, does the Hajj lose any bit of its sanctity of importance?" The man said, "No, it's actually the person who doesn't go to Hajj, he's the one who loses. Because the house of Allah is blessed. The one who doesn't visit, he's the one losing, not the house itself. The Kaaba itself is blessed. The person who doesn't visit is the one who's losing." Imam said, "Exactly. The way the Kaaba is blessed, Rasulullah said, I'm like the Kaaba. You come to me, I don't come to you." The companions that came to him, of course, they got the best of him. Salman was blessed, Abu Dhar was blessed, Miqdad was blessed, Ammar was blessed, Khuzaym ibn Sabit was blessed, Malik al-Ashtar was blessed, Kumayl bin Ziyad was blessed, Qambar was blessed, Maytham Ammar was blessed. These were blessed because they went to Ali, not Ali coming to them. That's why it says Ali is like the Kaaba. You go to him, he doesn't come to you. Because if you want to seek access to the city of knowledge, you have to go through its gate. When I said at the start of my lecture, أَنَا مَدِينَةُ الْعِلْمِ وَعَلِيٌّ بَابَهَا, what does it mean? Rasulullah says, I am the city of knowledge and Ali is its gate. And if you want to access the city of knowledge, you go through its gate. And to finalize, of course, Ali is the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of his greatest miracles of Rasulullah, I say, is Ali alayhi salam. When you look at the prophets, all of them had miracles. Moses split the sea, Jesus cured the blind, revived the dead. Let's say Abraham made the fire into flour. The miracles of Rasulullah, first is the Quran itself, that's a miracle. Let's say Shaqqul Qamar, when the moon was split. And another one is Imam Ali alayhi salam. How's he a miracle? Because the only man to have so much virtues in his name is Ali alayhi salam. And the greatest graduate from the University of Muhammad is Ali. Let me rephrase that. The greatest valedictorian from the University of Rasulullah is none other than Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. That's why we follow the greatest graduate from the school of Muhammad. You can of course follow who you want. At the end of the day, that's your akhirah, that's your thing. But we follow the greatest graduate. May Allah allow us to remain on the blessed path of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and inshallah grant his shafa'ah for us on the day of judgment. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.